Go ahead. Turn it up. It's the Record Machine Show with your host, Jimmy Howe.
Check the mail, go outside as your package arrives. A new heart and a clean set of eyes, trying to give love one more try. Make sure you're there to sign. The postman always rings twice. You can reinvent yourself in the city. Watch the sunrise on the high-rise 'cause you stayed up that late. Let all the strangers call you pretty, but don't get old too quick. Brooklyn can wait. Brooklyn can wait. Yeah. Watch the window in the rain. See you're reflecting on the pain. Imagine the water drops rain down the glass, make their escape. You must be jealous, but hey, you stand out there all the same. You can move away from home, but it'll miss you. And we both know that's a reason that you can't escape. Take some time before it takes you. But still be there tomorrow. Brooklyn can wait. Brooklyn can wait. Wishing things were different doesn't mean they're gonna change, but it sure doesn't mean they ain't. Just ask any of your mistakes. Brooklyn can wait. Brooklyn can wait. You can reinvent yourself in the city. See how long it takes the new heart to break. The new eyes look good, but they can't see. You still be with yourself, even when you're away. Brooklyn can wait. Brooklyn can wait. Brooklyn can wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome singer-songwriter Jake Thistle to the program. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. It's a nice day here in North Myrtle Beach. How's it by you in Jersey?
Still pretty good. No complaints. It's a warm one, but it's all good.
Well, that's cool.
Warmer by you, but you know.
Oh yeah, I think it's like 92 today here.
Oh wow, yeah, we're in probably low 80s.
Oh, okay. Have you been down to Myrtle Beach at all?
No, I haven't. I think I passed through one time, but no. But I'd like to one of these days, I'm sure.
Yeah, you got to book some gigs at the House of Blues. That would be cool.
I should. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So the last time we spoke on the air was like a little over 2 years ago. I believe it was like February of 2021. Since then, you've put out a couple of singles. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm super excited. So since then, I've signed with a label now called Golden Retriever Entertainment. And that was started by a guy who worked, his name's Joe Riccatelli. He worked at RCA Records for a really long time. And so he started this as a little independent label, and then when he retired, now he's running this full-time. So they've signed a couple independent artists, and I'm one of them. So we've been putting out a bunch of singles on that, and it's all leading up to an EP that's going to come out a little later this fall. So this is this new one that came out is the third single we've put out on Golden Retriever. and then they'll all be on the EP in a couple more months.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, this podcast is going to feature two of those tracks. The new one, Brooklyn Can Wait, and Ghosted Road. What's the story behind those two songs?
It's funny. They're kind of I'm glad we're doing these two songs because they're almost opposites. Ghosted Road was one that I wrote well before I signed with the label, but it was kind of an awkward time where I wrote it too late to be on my first album, but a little too early to have anything to really do with it. So I kind of sat on it for a while. I played it acoustic and live and whatever. But when I started meeting with the label and they asked me to play some stuff, I played them some new stuff I'd been working on, but something with Ghosted was just kind of sticking in the back of my head. So I played that, and it ended up being our first single. So that was a really fun experience in the studio. It was my first time ever in the studio, and it was my first time ever with a full band and my original. So both of those combined was such a great learning experience. But I've been sitting on Ghosted for forever. I think about 2 years, and so I kind of knew exactly how I wanted the song to go before I even heard the instruments. And so when I got with the band, we put together a demo, and it worked great, and it was such a fluid and fun experience. And then Brooklyn was one that I wrote really quick, right before the summer, and I kind of just threw it at the label like, hey, this is something I've been working on. We had just put out The Dreamer, actually, which was the second single I put out, and they're like, what do you have? And so I gave them a couple things, and I said, oh, by the way, this new thing I wrote it in like 20 minutes. I don't know if it's good. And I gave it to him, and he was like, oh, this is my favorite one you've written so far. And I was like, oh, crap. Well, now I actually really got to think about how I want to do it. So I went in, because I really didn't have a vision for how I wanted it. It was at the time a solo piano demo. And so I gave it to the producer, and I said, I have no idea what to do with this, but let's just go in the studio and figure it out. So I went in with him, and no band, just me and the producer. The producer, Prod by Tyler is his Instagram handle, but Tyler Sarfit, he plays drums. So I went in and I said, look, I'll do bass, acoustic, piano, and everything, and you play drums, and we came up with that. And so it's definitely a new sound for me, and I'm really excited to kind of keep exploring down that avenue. It's a little more atmospheric than some of the other things I've put out.
Yeah, it's definitely great. Now, how do you approach songwriting? What's your creative process like?
I love to just, throw crap at a fan and see what sprays back.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, and most of the time it just sprays back crap. But no, I usually start with melodies and chords, and then I just sing gibberish on them until sentences form. Honestly, and so Brooklyn Can Wait is actually a pretty good example. I don't know really what happened with that song, but I was sitting at the piano and I had this melody going, and I basically wrote that song first try all the way through, just kind of improvising lyrics. And then, of course, I went back and tightened it up a little to make it make sense. But the shell of that song really kind of came out once I had the melody. And I jotted it down, and that was a really quick write. Other songs, obviously take longer. But most of the time, especially some of my earlier songs with the label, they started with, a bunch of verses and choruses and bridges and everything like that. And then I give it to them. I say, hey, we really like this song, but see if you can make it 3 minutes shorter and double the choruses. So, it's always a challenge of editing and cutting and trying to make things a little more tight. But yeah, I usually start with melodies and chords. I found that I'm actually just before you called, I was trying to work on when I start with lyrics, I have a really hard time putting it to a melody for whatever reason. So I was just on a plane back from Nashville, and I wrote some lyrics, and now I have no idea what to do with them.
Awesome. Did you enjoy Nashville?
I did. It was such a great time. I was down there recording a song for the EP. When we recorded Ghosted Road, it was a 2-day session, and we did 2 songs. And so we obviously released Ghosted Road, and then the B-side of that was a song called Rolling Away. And it was great. And then that was about a year ago now, those sessions, over a year now. And so I was listening, and we're gearing up to put out this EP. And I just was like, I like this song, but I would record it different now. I think my tastes have changed. My recording process has changed. And I think I sing better and play better now. So I really wanted to re-record Rolling Away. And so I went to the producer, Jacob Kulik, and he lived in Pennsylvania. And he came over to Asbury Park where we recorded it. And so I was going to book a session with him And then I got a call from him about maybe 2 weeks before and said, hey, we're moving to Nashville. This is really great. Him and his partner, April Rose Gabrielli, who is they're both artists themselves, and they have a studio called The Pair Entertainment. Mm-hmm. But they moved to Nashville, and I said, well, that's awesome. I'd never been there before. It was a great excuse to get down there. And so I went down for about 4 days, and we recorded it all together. We weren't planning on it, but we started it again from scratch. And I'm really happy with how it came out. So that'll be on the EP.
Awesome. Now, you have a couple of music videos up on your YouTube page, including The Dreamer and Ghosted Road. Do you enjoy shooting the video as much as writing and recording the songs?
I definitely enjoy shooting the videos. I wouldn't say as much as writing and recording, but I do like it. I just shot the Brooklyn Can Wait music video a couple days ago. Oh, nice. So I'm really excited to see how that comes out. We did that in New York. And yeah, it was such a great time and a really good experience. The Ghosted Road video was kind of a live video. We did it from the studio. Mm-hmm. Everyone was already there. It was almost an afterthought. We were like, you know what? We have this song coming out. We may as well just record us doing it. So we just got a guy, Johnny Cervase, came in and did. He's the same guy that directed the Brooklyn Can Wait video that's coming out in a couple weeks. But, that's how that happened. And then The Dreamer was a little more of a traditional music video, in terms of, going to a location and lip syncing and everything like that. And Brooklyn Can Wait's the same way. So I really love it. I think it's a different experience for me, and it shows a different side of me. I was, a songwriter for really as long as I can remember. So now actually having it's a nice for the writing process to sit for an 8-hour shoot and just listen to that song over and over again and pick it apart,
Exactly.
For better or worse.
Yeah, I watched the videos, and especially Ghosted Road. I love that song. And it looks like you guys are having a great time making that, the video and recording the song. It's a totally different experience from your first go at recording music, right? Because you did Down the Line all by yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I laugh every time because now I record demos the same way I recorded Down the Line. And so, it's just funny to see the evolution because I'll record a demo and be like, yeah, I think this sounds good, but I can't believe I released this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was great at the time, and it's great now. I'm really, really proud of that project, and I still play those songs live all the time. I think that was really, especially being in the pandemic and like all of the other. I was going to say so many, but literally like all of the other musicians. We were just so affected by not being able to go out and play, and so I really think it was good for me in so many ways. But yeah, I recorded Down the Line on a Zoom Live Track L20 board. I didn't use any computers because I know a little more now, but at the time I didn't know even what Logic or Pro Tools was. Mm-hmm. So I recorded it all and mixed it on this board, no processing. And then I just took out the SD card, and, put them up. So, that was such a great experience. And it was really nice to really sit down with these songs that I'd played acoustic, written acoustic, and only imagined acoustic. And say, all right, well, now I can add bass and piano and drums and or shaker or whatever. I didn't play drums, but shaker and percussion. What do these songs sound like? How should they sound like? And so it was a great exercise and a lot of trial and error. And so I was really grateful that I had the time. I was in high school at the time, a sophomore in high school when I recorded that, and was home, all day. Right. And so I'm glad I had the time to really sit and think about it because I didn't want to rush that project, and I don't think I did, but I'm really happy with how Down the Line came out, and this is a totally different experience. But I will say it's a totally different experience in terms of the product and how the end result is met. But like I said, all the demos I record the same way. So I guess that really Down the Line is what kind of defined up to this point my process for trying to build out songs and getting them to the band, because I still record like that. Yeah,
it was a good way to cut your teeth in the business, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It was so many people were saying, oh, you're going to ever release music, you can have music out. And at the time, I was predominantly a cover guy anyway. So I think it was a great excuse to kind of get a foot in the door of originals and releasing and playing originals. And we surprisingly, I wasn't sure what was going to happen with it. It was the pandemic, and I was 15 recording these songs. And, we ended up getting some good press, and it sold more than I thought it would. And so I was really happy with that end result. Yeah. And I'm pumped, to keep playing those songs. And we're actually, there's talk about, I've signed a 3-album deal with my label. And so there's talk about even re-releasing some of those songs with a full band and full production on later projects, just because, I play them live and I give them to the band, and they really transform these songs into, stuff I couldn't have imagined. I'm really grateful to get different voices on these tunes, different playing and everything, just because it, especially down the line, was so me. I probably to a fault, just because I wrote it, produced it, recorded it, I played every part, so it's really, really great to get some other ideas in there and make the songs a little more dynamic.
Now, you started out at such a young age. How has your sound evolved over the last couple of years, would you say?
It's evolved greatly, I think, and I have a lot to thank with the studio and the label for that. I've always really liked, classic music, classic Americana and rock and everything. I got into music when I saw Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers play the halftime show when I was 3 years old. So they have been, people like that, them and Springsteen. I'm a huge John Hiatt fan, everything. They've been huge influences on me. And so I've always gravitated toward that style of music. And so in recent years, in recording my own things, I just want to make sure that my sounds and my songs, they say something, and I can do that through lyrics, of course, and melody. But just in terms of the production, I don't want anything to sound derivative or like it's been done before, to a certain extent. I'm not ridiculously experimental, but, just in terms of, I don't want people to hear a record and go, maybe in a good way, nostalgic, but not, this should have came out in 1980. You know what I mean? In a negative way. So I've really tried to immerse myself in some newer sounds and not even newer, but just some different sounds and some more indie things. And I think you can really hear that on the new one, Brooklyn Can Wait.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to balance some of my newer influences and some of my older influences. And it's such a joy to, sit with a producer and I give them a Spotify playlist of maybe 6 or 7 songs, saying like, I kind of want this song to end up like these. And some of them are were released 2-3 months ago, and some of them were from 40-50 years ago. Wow. And I'm really excited for that balance and working on things like that.
Cool. Now, what is the best advice another musician ever gave you?
Oh, wow. Let's see. There's so many. I mean, in terms, I always gravitate toward, there's a player I was lucky enough to work with a lot, named Lou Pallo. And he was Les Paul's guitarist for many, many years. And I played with him. I was the youngest person in this band by about 70 years.
Wow.
Without exaggeration. He passed when I was 16 and he was 86.
Wow.
But I played with him almost every Sunday for years, and it was just such a masterclass in playing and performing and everything like that. And, even just the superficial knowledge he passed on to me was so revolutionary, just in terms of like, look, when you get there, before you're up, your guitar should be tuned. You should be plugged in, like, don't waste the audience's time. And so from a young age, that has really come into play. And then I'll say another one, being a big Tom Petty fan, I got to work with a few of the Heartbreakers out in LA a couple years back. And I remember we were rehearsing for this show, and Steve Ferroni, the drummer, he stopped us and he just said, "Look, Jake," there was a couple other New York guys there. He said, "You guys got to slow down. Not every song has to be super fast. This is LA. Tom was a pot smoker. You got to calm down a little bit." And we kind of took a deep breath and went again. And I think about that almost every time I play, not only that song, just in general, just like, all right, calm down. Not everything's a race. And so that's really both of those. And there's been I've been so lucky to work with so many people who have influenced me. So it's impossible to narrow it down. But those two came to mind immediately. Just be prepared and take it all in.
Good advice. Now, biggest career highlight so far, what would you say?
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, I've been so fortunate. Like I can't even begin to, say I really loved all of it. I just talked about that gig that I did with a few of the Heartbreakers. So obviously that was, a Mount Rushmore thing for me, because they've influenced me so much just from watching them and listening to them, over the years. And so now getting to, turn around and see Ron Blair and Steve Ferroni and Jim Keltner, of all people playing, it was just, it blew my mind. It really did. So that's certainly up there. But, again, too, just anytime I get to play, a gig that, I'm playing songs I wrote and I'm having a great time. And I'm just so honored to do that. So I would say another career highlight is signing with my label and just getting to go through that process of writing a song, giving it to a band, recording it, promoting it, putting it out, recording a music video, and just doing that, which I've seen so many, other people do. I'm just honored to be, kind of a part of that.
Nice. What is it about music that makes you feel passionate?
I have no idea, and I think that's why I love it so much. I maintain that my first memory ever is sitting in my at the time, forest green living room, which in hindsight was ugly, watching Tom Petty on the TV, at that Super Bowl show. I have no idea why a 3-year-old decided that he was going to dedicate his life to I Won't Back Down, but he did, so I really have no idea what makes me love music as much as I do, but it's just been a constant in my life. I didn't start playing guitar until I was 9, so there's a good 6 years between seeing that and starting guitar where I just inexplicably was in a music phase and that I haven't come out of. And I think for a kid, being 5 or 6, that's pretty rare to be in a phase for that long. Mm-hmm. And I was in my classic rock phase from 3 to undecided, because I still am in now. So, I don't know what's kept me loving it for so long, but every day I just love it more. So, I have no idea what makes me so passionate about it, but I just know that I am.
Well, a lot of people hate their job, so it must be nice to have a job that you really enjoy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been so fortunate. Every time I hear a conference call or something from, I tease him about it, but every time my dad works from home and every time I hear a conference call from his corporate job, I say, I better write another song. I better go reach out to my label and record again.
Yeah, I hear that. Now, outside of music, what do you like to do for fun?
It sounds funny, but listen to music. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I try to go to concerts every time I can. Music really, it generally is the biggest part of my life. I like writing a lot. And so most of the time that translates to songs, but, so I try to write and, hang out with friends and enjoy some things. That's basically what I'm doing when I'm not doing music. I don't do too much other than music, but when I do, I always enjoy myself.
Okay. Do you have a website that you'd like to promote?
I do, yeah. I'm at jakethistle.com. That's THISTLE. I'm also Jake Thistle on YouTube, and then Jake Thistle Music on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Music and merch up on that website? There
is, yes. Yeah, there's merch on the website as well as music. You can also stream the music anywhere, whatever your preferred streaming site is. It's all up there, and the streams really help for sure. And then I also sell the merch at the live shows.
Nice. Do you sign stuff that you sell?
If they'd like it. I'm not sure if it decreases its value or not, but if they ask, I'll do it.
Now, is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
Not really. Mainly just, I really hope you like Brooklyn Can Wait. It's the newest single out. I'm super, super passionate about this one. I think it's a step in a different direction for me, and I'm really excited to know what you think. So listen and let me know. And
it comes out when? Thursday or Friday?
Thursday, August 24th.
Oh, nice. All right, cool. So everybody's got to look out for that. And you said, when will the EP be released?
EP is, we're looking at November right now. We're deciding between 2 different dates.
Nice. Just in time for Christmas, folks. You can get a stocking stuffer, throw that CD in that stocking, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Well, awesome, Jake. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show again. I really appreciate it. And I really love the songs that I'm hearing, and I can't wait to hear the rest of the EP.
Really means the world. Thank you so much for having me. This was such a great time.
You're welcome, dude. And let's stay in touch. When that comes out, maybe I'll have you back on again.
Please. Thank you. All
right, man. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, all right?
Absolutely. You too.
All right. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
I'm staring down the barrel of this town, and I try, but I can't see the end of the road that leads out. And I remember how you cried when you saw me right away. You know I would've hung around if you just told me to stay. Oh, but I'm just a ghosted road. We're begging you to change the traffic light, so I can just move on, then move on back to you if it's alright. 'Cause your tears meant nothing next to what your silence said. What if I never wanted to leave? I just wanted to see what you'd think if I did. Yeah, well, I passed time counting headlights down these roads, and after all this time, excluding mine, I'm still at zero. I wanna crawl back to you, but I'm afraid you won't like what's left. You've seen all my good times, but you could have the rest. Oh, well, I'm just a ghosted road. We're begging you to change the traffic light, so I can just move on, then move on back to you if it's alright. 'Cause your tears meant nothing next to what your silence said. What if I never wanted to leave? I just wanted to see what you'd think if I did. I just wanted to see what you'd think if I did. I feel my heartbeat sinking with the blinking of the traffic light I'm standing under. I'm surrounded by the glow of the alternating of the red and yellow color. There's still so much ground between here and there that I'm gonna have to cover. I'm just a ghosted road, begging you to change the traffic light, so I can just move on, then move on back to you if it's alright. 'Cause your tears meant nothing next to what your silence said. And I never wanted to leave, I just wanted to see what you'd think if I did.
The Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Howell Productions. All rights reserved. For information regarding distribution or adding this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.
The Record Machine Show.